Hey guys, welcome to a new breakdown. We've got Keith Thurman today and Danny Garcia. Anyone who doesn't know, they were the two best welterweights at the time, I'd say, just before Crawford and Errol Spence became a thing. They were excellent welterweights, and they fought each other at the prime of their careers. This fight is a really good fight if anyone wants to watch it. But yeah, Danny Garcia, one of my favourite counter punchers, and Keith Thurman, just an overall hard worker. So we're going to break down their full decisions. I haven't studied it yet, so I'm just as fresh as you guys are on this one. But yeah, let's go. All right, so you'll see Keith Thurman straight away. Reset to his left. Well, I mean, shuffle step to his left, more like. Then circle off. Circle off. Circle off. What's he doing? Looks and jab to the left. You can see him here. Just feinting, touching the guard, feinting again, and then he's going to go straight into offense, okay? So Danny Garcia here, he's just raising his guard as a look, circling around to the left to gain the center, going back into this high guard look, this great high guard look here, and then he's just going to move away once he sees that Keith Thurman's trying to engage, reset again to the left. Obviously, right now, what's he done? He's bounced his base, and both of his feet are together. So he's going to have to readjust very quickly. Can he do it in time? Kind of gets exploited there, if I'm being honest. So takes that step, that bounce, resets off to his left. Keith Thurman is coming forward. He feints here. As he squares up Danny Garcia, he's going to feint the jab. That's going to bring out the parry hand of Garcia. And Keith Thurman's just trying to find offense. He feints the two and then tries a three. So that's two feints and a three, okay? Now, he sees that he's obviously backed up Danny Garcia because Danny Garcia wasn't in a position really to defend anyway. Danny Garcia's shuffled back. He's going to try to reset to the left now. And Keith Thurman's just deciding to come more forward. He was in a very aggressive boxer, Keith Thurman. I'm saying this like he doesn't even box anymore. He literally boxed the other day, but yeah, he was a top welterweight back in the day. He shuffles forward, feints the jab, whatever the hell this feint is. Anyway, it's aggressive. I'll tell you that. Feints the two again, and then comes around with a hook again. Okay, so it's the same entry. Danny Garcia, I've said this before, excellent counter puncher. So he breaks his base here. He squeezes his guard. What does he do? He looks for that left hook as he sets his feet, blocks it. Well, I mean, doesn't really block it, but he tries to block it and come back with his own hook. Okay? Now, Keith Thurman blocks this, but it's sort of like a sort of check hook, and it gives Danny Garcia a little bit of time to say, you know what, let me find some space, let me reset to my left, a little bit of distance, gives me a little bit of time, I've slowed him down, okay? Okay, let's keep watching. Okay, so great looks and lead hand here from Keith Thurman. Feints first, then jabs. What does he jab? He jabs the gloves, feints again. With counter punchers like Danny Garcia, you want to really upset their rhythm. They will time your shots, so you want to make them as hard to time as possible. Okay. So he feints it, he jabs it, he feints it. Danny Garcia's looking for the parry. Even this, though, it's a great look by Danny Garcia, just sort of like that parry hand out and that lead glove to the temple. He's going around to his left right now, Danny Garcia, trying to get back into the center. Keith Thurman is feinting the jab again, coming around with the hook. Excellent setup. And then comes around with the right hand. Danny Garcia's defense is pretty solid here. He gets exploited from that parry hand again. And then pulls back. Barely, I think, avoids the right hand. Could be wrong there, but it doesn't really matter. Shuffles back out of range. Resets again to his left. Circles off. Okay? During that time, Keith Thurman's obviously... One thing you might notice is he's very wild. Okay? Cuts him off. Walks him down, touch, jab to the body. So Danny Garcia is just going to throw this little feint back out here just to keep Keith Thurman honest. Keith Thurman's now going to walk forward in a high guard look. What does this usually mean? It usually means he's looking for a counter, parry, and a hook. Okay, Danny Garcia does a good job here of jabbing and getting under the counter. Okay, and then they both sort of disengage. All right, let's keep watching. They're both giving each other a little bit of looks here. Obviously, Danny Garcia's in the center. Keith Thurman starts again to his left. Starts to look at his looks here. So he's getting high. He's throwing out his jab. Level changing. Pretending he's going low. All the while, has cut an angle all the way over to his left. Okay? Oh, whoops. Let me go there again. Yeah, okay. So here. So he's here now. Danny Garcia is now going to try to use his lead hand a little bit more. Feint upstairs, jab to the body. Keith Thurman steps back. If you want to look at what Keith Thurman did just before that, he was in that sort of high guard look. When you're in that high guard look, defense gets a ton easier, I promise you. When you're in a look that sort of entails that you will be looking for counters at one point with it, defense gets a whole lot easier because you can really see it coming. You're really looking for the shots that are coming. Anyway, steps back from here, moves away to his left, and starts again. Okay, so that's really good defense. Just very simple. Step back, move off to the left. Okay, he's still moving off to the left here, giving him looks. Danny Garcia's also bringing him looks by himself. Look at that, raising his guard, slip in there, going back to that sort of Philly shelled look. And the most common exchange you'll see in a round one of any fight will be parry jabs from both people. Okay, so as Keith Thurman's looking around to his left, giving him different looks, he feints here. Danny Garcia gets aware of it. So as that he feints, Danny Garcia sort of raises his guard. Keith Thurman jabs, lands it just barely, but Danny Garcia parries and jabs back just around the eye. Okay. A very, very common exchange that you'll see in round ones. All right, they're both giving each other different looks. Danny Garcia in the center now starting to get a little bit more comfortable with the looks. There he raises his lead guard. That's a great look. That's sort of the block look that I was trying to teach you guys about very, very early on in our drilling. He sort of has a 1D lead hand here. Obviously, it's not in any mid-range. Fuck's sake. Hang on a sec. There we go. Okay. So he lowers it to the temple, grits it low, sort of a feinty lead hand, steps in very subtly, and then straight away to the body. Now, that little step in here, all disguised really by the looks in the lead hand. What does he do? Explodes in. Keith Thurman's also see it coming, but I think it does kind of land. Keith Thurman still moves off to his left. And look at this. Now you're going to start. One thing about Keith Thurman, he was flipping wild, man, sometimes. Oh, Christ, man. Damn. All right. Okay. Let's start from here. I don't know what it keeps doing now. All right. So he goes around to his left. Feints as he shuffles in. Again, where does he shuffle in? Around to his left. Tries to feint the jab. Tries to go for the left hook right hand. He's done this a couple of times now. Danny Garcia is starting to get the rhythm of it and the timing of it. Okay, so he walks over. Danny Garcia is looking for a counter here. Sees it coming. Boom. Block with the right, and then tries for a left hook. Both of them I don't think land here. But it's the same exchange that we saw early on. But what you do see is the wildness of Keith Thurman's swings kind of goes a little bit punished here, because Danny Garcia in this position where he's leaning back here manages to throw sort of this right hook uppercut, which lands on the gloves of Keith Thurman's squeeze, isn't it? All right. And then Keith Thurman tries to counter again, but he's obviously out of range. And he's shuffling forward, still being very aggressive, shuffling forward, very wild feint here. It's not really a feint even. He's got this high guard look, unless you want to consider this a feint. He comes around with a left uppercut and slips the counter. Okay, so you've got wild boxing versus clean boxing, if I'm being honest here. Danny Garcia right now just stepping back, looking for a counter, raises his guard, pull, left hook. Keith Thurman's now slipped. Danny Garcia feels like he's in a dangerous position. What does he do? Well, he doesn't do that, does he? Flipping hell. Hang on a sec. Boom, boom. And he slips. There we go. Keith Thurman steps back. They're both in a sort of defensive position here. Danny Garcia, as you can see, he's now bent at the waist. He wants to engage in a clinch. Keith Thurman's not letting him, okay? So he wants to engage in this clinch here. Keith Thurman steps back and manages to land this very short left hook. But then Danny Garcia comes back with his own right hand. Really good round. Really, really good fight here. All right. So obviously he's tried to engage in a clinch. Hasn't worked. So he's like, what's the next best thing? I'm low. I want to come around with the overhand right. Okay? And obviously what Keith Thurman's done here is, sure, he's disengaged from the clinch, but he is pulling away. So that's always going to favour the person not... it's always going to favour the person in the better position. And if you're pulling away with your lead hand down, you're kind of asking for it. Obviously, it's too quick for them to really be smart about their decisions right now. But it's just something that you want to know, I guess. All right. Keith Thurman's looking forward, brings this high guard look here as he shuffles in, then jabs here. Thinks that there's going to be a counter, as you can see. So he jabs, think there's going to be a counter. It looks like he's looking for a counter with this jab. He can't find it. He's like, fuck it, I'm throwing it anyway. Boom, boom. Okay, so it's a right hook to the body and a left hook to the head. It's an excellent setup. Excellent, excellent setup. Obviously, Danny Garcia is moving back right now. Blocks that on the elbow. Pulls away from that. Danny Garcia's got excellent defense. And this is all on the reset, obviously. Boom, boom. And he's resetting away to his left. And again, look at this. Look at this. Slow reset. Slow reset. He looks like Keith Thurman's about to engage. Fast reset. Fast reset. Lovely. Lovely, lovely work. And then he's in front of Keith Thurman here on the ropes. Level change feint and a jab to sort of get off here. Okay? Keith Thurman's not an idiot. He sees that Danny Garcia wants to come forward, steps back, give him the range, and looks for a counter here. Steps back, 1, 2. Okay? Well, I mean, this overhand right here. But he does land the 1. It's a sort of slipping 1. It's a really good shot, actually. And he pivots off to the left. I think he's more off balance there. They're throwing a lot, man. All right. Okay, they pivot. Danny Garcia parries this jab, jabs himself, and Keith Thurman tries to go for the body. So Keith Thurman's now touch, 2 to the body. Danny Garcia is still trying to throw his left hook, and Keith Thurman rolls under, exits the range. Now you could see that as pulling away. There he kind of got away with it. Well, he was a bit too quick there, wasn't he, for Danny Garcia? But yeah, he shuffles back, gets back into the center of the ring. Now they're both giving each other looks. Danny Garcia's stepping back. I'm not going to get angry. Danny Garcia's stepping back. Parries this jab. Keith Thurman's coming forwards. These are still looks. They're not super intentful, I'll be honest. We just watched the Bivol Beterbiev fight, and I thought the looks were a lot more intentful there. But these are still good looks from both of them. Just waiting for each other, being patient with each other. He jabs, he feints the jab there, sort of. I don't know if he was trying to land that. He's a bit out of range, mate. But it looks like he's trying to jab the right glove, actually. Look at that. He aims for the right glove. Keith Thurman slips inside. Yeah? And now they're both in front of each other. Danny Garcia is going to be smart here. Very, very sneakily. Just use his looks. Just use his left circles. He's trying to get back in the center. Okay? So, as we say, Danny Garcia is subtly using his looks, slipping off, circling back into the center, and then tries to land his own jab to the body, okay? Keith Thurman's also doing his looks and jab, and he feints here, and it's actually that makes Danny Garcia throw that jab to the body. and then he tries to throw it to the head, but Keith Thurman's a little bit ahead and parries and punches after he steps back. Okay? Now Keith Thurman's walking to his right. He's walking back now using looks. Both of them using looks and feints now. This is usually how first rounds go in professional boxing. Very looks, very feints. Very looks, very feints. You understand? All right. So slip look from Keith Thurman here. Slip look from Keith Thurman here. Danny Garcia is using his slip looks to inch forward. Uses his high guard there. Feints the jab. After Keith Thurman's defensive, he comes back in with his looks. Now he moves to his left, and Danny Garcia is just going to decide to jab that body. Okay. Keith Thurman is a retaliation puncher, man. As soon as he gets hit, he does not like it. So he gets hit to this body here, and then he's like, fuck that, you're out of position, and he comes forward. Move. And he comes forward. So 1, 3, and then Danny Garcia manages to catch him here. So he jabs to the body, Danny Garcia. If we look at him now, he then shuffles back. This was why he was such a great counterpuncher. He looked in trouble. Like even here, he does look out of position. He looks like he's about to take these punches here, and straight away, it's a great way for looking for counters is actually after punching, because with people who retaliate, you can find that counter. Honestly, they might walk themselves onto it. 1, 3 from Keith Thurman. Danny Garcia puts it up to block, ducks, overhand right. And does that land properly? Yeah, great shot. And he pivots off. Really good shot. Okay, looks in front of each other. Keith Thurman feints and comes around with the right hand. Danny Garcia again tries to parry, hook as he comes in, and the uppercut here. Now Keith Thurman does the correct thing here, and he changes his 2 to a 3, right? So before we saw him do feint to the body and the 2 to the... No, we saw him do a touch jab and then a 2 to the body. Here he feints, that's 1. Throws the 2 to the body, that's 2. And then comes back up with a hook, that's 3. There we go. This is why I say throw 3 shots, guys. Okay. Looks and jab. Let's keep going. Keep looking and jabbing. Sometimes to the left. Feint upstairs, jab to the body. Jab back. And then here, really nice jab. Feint to the body. And then sort of this spear jab there. Excellent jab. Excellent jab. Keith Thurman resets to his left. Both giving each other different looks. I think they're both looking for counters here. As you can see, Keith Thurman's coming forward with that high guard. Tries to jab. Danny Garcia. The great thing about Danny Garcia, again, with his counter punching, his looks will never, ever look like he's really looking for a counter. It's very impressive. He moves back here. Slips inside the punch and tries to get an overhand right in. Obviously a little bit too wide, and he was maybe a bit too square there. That's why he got caught by the jab. All right, now they're giving each other looks again. Small reset for Danny Garcia, and then he's going to decide to go to the body as Keith Thurman closes the distance on him. Moving a little bit low. Keith Thurman's really looking to close the distance now. As you can see, he's got an aggressive high guard look. Body block there. Moving forward straight away. Look at Danny Garcia's feet. Square up. Keith Thurman's going to use that. Launch in with the jab. And yeah. I mean, he's even caught me out, Danny Garcia, right there. I was like, he's surely going to take this jab. And look what he's done. He's looked like he's out of position. Out of position? If any of you have seen that clip, you'll know it's quite similar to this situation. He's broken his base. Parry. Jab as Keith Thurman steps forward. And Keith Thurman has to reset a little bit. And then he resets off to his left. So being aggressive doesn't always pay off. But obviously not everyone is Danny Garcia in front of you. All right. He misdirects to his left here. Moves off to his right. Bends at the waist into a clinch. Really, really good work from Danny Garcia. It's funny, isn't it? Funny watching it in slow motion gives such a different feel, because it's I always thought Keith Thurman won this round pretty handily, but damn, Danny Garcia was doing really well. Okay, so they keep giving each other different looks. Keith Thurman is still very aggressive. As you can see, Danny Garcia jabs to the body as he exits to his left here. Keith Thurman's having none of it. He's like, nah, fuck that, I'm coming in. Jab to the head, and then they engage into this sort of clinch. What actually happened there? Boom. He parries and smothers Danny Garcia. Excellent boxing. Excellent defense. Okay, so here's the reason, well, the main reason why people think Keith Thurman won this round. He's gonna high guard here and level change, right? Brings up Danny Garcia's gloves. Danny Garcia moves towards his left. They both sort of do this parry and jab thing. I don't know if Danny Garcia was properly parrying there, but Keith Thurman does. He jab, hook to the body here. So parry and jab, hook to the body. Pretty good 3. Obviously, he gets caught a little bit by Danny Garcia's parry hook here. Boom. And then he lands this great shot to the head. So it's that right hook to the body, left hook to the head. You know who's good at throwing that? Mansour. If you're watching that, that should be your bread and butter as a shorter fighter as well. Okay? It's very sneaky. Hook to the body, boom, 3 to the head. Okay? And how does he set up? He sets up with that jab. Boom, boom, boom. Lovely 3. Okay? And then Danny Garcia manages to land his own sort of jab check hook there. And then boom. Okay? Again, wild Thurman. Feints, jabs, feints up, feints down, overhand right. Catches him just in between of that parry hook. And then he tries to explode in. Looking a bit like Mansour again, actually. And he tries to explode in. Danny Garcia, I don't know how he pulls back from that, but well done to him. And he gets caught with this right hand here. And he almost looks fine here, Danny Garcia, weirdly enough. Pulls back and looks for a clinch straight away. Very, very intelligent. Okay, they separate. And again, the same thing. Well, I mean, he just decks it, doesn't he? Keith Thurman just swings out a left hook. Danny Garcia tries to catch it and counter. Keith Thurman pulls back, tries to find the jab. Boom. That looks like a bit like Bivol Beterbiev, doesn't it? Just that right hand squeeze, reset to the left. Okay, let's keep watching. We only got 37 seconds. Keith Thurman's still aggressive. Feint around. Look for the left hook. Look for the right hand. Danny Garcia does great work here. Block as he steps back. Shoulder rolls, which for my novice boxers, please do the block there. Do not do a shoulder roll. It won't work yet. And then he tries to duck in and bend of the waist, get into Keith Thurman's clinching range. That is perfect from Danny Garcia. Man, in slow motion, Danny Garcia is an excellent defense. He's got really good defense. Okay, they're both doing their looks. If you look at Keith Thurman's feet here, he's moving around to his left, so he squares up. Danny Garcia, pardon. So he squares up Danny Garcia, and then he parries and jabs at the same time. So Danny Garcia was square when he took that jab on. All right. They keep throwing each other looks. High guard there. And this was a really great left hook from Danny Garcia. So high guard from Keith Thurman. They're both throwing out their looks. Keith Thurman looks to come in with this wide left hook again, which I really don't like. Danny Garcia tries to parry it, but kind of blocks it at the same time. And then, boom, catches him in between the right hand with this great left hook. And then he moves off to his left. He's moving backwards here, backwards looks. Pulls and tries to find a jab. But Keith Thurman is wide and he just gets there a little bit ahead. Boom, boom. That 3-2 there. And then Danny Garcia straight away, he takes it, gets low, gets close. Keith Thurman does the right thing though. Danny Garcia does not have great clinching here just in this sequence. So Keith Thurman pushes him off, tries to find the uppercut straight away. Now, if Danny Garcia didn't have great defense and countering, because he actually catched and counter off there, look, block, left hook straight back. If Danny Garcia didn't have that, that would be a really, really hurtful shot. Both looking for the high guard. As you can see, Danny Garcia alternates between shuffle steps to his left, so that's a short reset, and circle steps, so back into his looks and jab, okay? It's a great way of moving left. Anyway, Keith Thurman comes forward, he's aggressive, they both exchange jabs, one has his parry hand out, yeah? Properly, in front of his face, okay? Keith Thurman's walking him down, Danny Garcia's moving to his left, he throws out an air jab, Keith Thurman, feints the jab here, and what does he do? Look for the right hand over the top, way too far. And Danny Garcia, if you look at his left leg here, will sort of check off here, right? And then pulls away from this left hook, misdirects to the right. Lovely, lovely work from Danny Garcia. And then he tries to look for a counter here. Thurman goes to the body, tries to find the right uppercut. Thurman pulls away, tries to find the left hook. Danny Garcia rolls. He moves back, tries to get under this right hand, but Keith Thurman has absolutely done the right thing there because it's way too far to be bending at the waist into a clinch. And Keith Thurman is very accurate, lands straight on the head, but Danny Garcia doesn't let him get anything else more. Really, really good round. All right, I hope you enjoyed that, guys. I definitely did. That was a great round to watch in slow motion. Please can you tell me some fights that you want to watch, some boxers that you like, that you want to break down? I'm only going to stick to high level boxing. I think I don't really want to do like a great prospect versus a journeyman or anything like that. So please give me some recommendations, guys. All right, anyway, happy training.